This might upset some people, but Red Dead Online's new update is just not good. You've probably seen the hype, posts and videos saying Undead Nightmare is back, or calling this a full Undead Nightmare update. Well, I'm not here to mislead anyone, and if you played the original Undead Nightmare back in the day, this isn't even close. And after spending time with it, I honestly just don't like it, for a few very specific reasons. First off, credit where it's due, we finally got an update for a mode I honestly thought was dead and buried, and that alone should be something worth celebrating. But then I actually played it. Strange Tales of the West does add a selection of new missions, which does include robots, cults, pound shop looking zombies, and priests with aimbot, and it does have some serious issues. First, the zombies, or infected. One of the headline missions everyone's talking about, Tales of the Plague, has you collecting corpses whilst a bunch of plague infected NPCs mope about. But the infected aren't exactly zombies like some posts might have you believe, and are just slow walking NPCs with melee weapons. Some will chuck about 100 tomahawks, but most of them shuffle towards you. There's no real sense of tension or unpredictability. They don't lunge, swarm, or behave in any way that makes them feel undead or infected. In fact, the Undead Nightmare mod has way better infected NPCs. Comparing this to the mod, or even the original expansion, is night and day. And I do understand people using the term Undead Nightmare for clicks, and it does help Rockstar market an online mode that was once classed as dead. But this is not anything like the Undead Nightmare we've seen in the past, so don't get your hopes up or believe any of the bullshit you've seen online. Rockstar themselves call this Strange Tales of the West, and that's exactly what it should be known as. But that isn't actually why I dislike this update. If you play this, you better be Prestige 10 Goblin at Red Dead Redemption, or have a Cronus on standby, as for whatever reason the hardness is cranked up to your ceiling, and I actually have no idea why. Nice one, cheers. Can someone tell me why a bloke infected with the plague has better aim than me in my prime Black Ops 1 days? I mean, what is going on with this game? And I kid you not, it felt like I was being aimbotted despite either being in cover or running away from enemies. I mean, what is going on here? Where is this priest shooting me from? I mean, look, if the world's going to war, the winner will be whoever has these OP pricks on their side. No matter the level of player I was in a lobby with, after a few failed attempts, they would leave, which meant playing the mission alone, which feels almost impossible. If you find yourself alone, just quit. There's 0 point unless you have one heck of a stacked or hacked account. This also seems to be a universal problem, as other videos have also commented on how hard these missions are, and it just feels so unneeded.
I would consider these quite difficult, even on standard.
I mean, just look at how many shots it takes to massacre a robot. In Strange Tales of Modern Science, the robots are standing still, letting me headshot them, and it still takes an insane amount of bullets to drop one. How many shots? I've literally shot this robot about 89 times and he's still not dead. I just don't really understand this. This is bizarre. I've literally shot this robot. I don't even know how many times now, and he's still not crippled over. And for the ones with a bow and arrow, just don't bother. They seriously make Rambo look as useful as a nun's tits. OP is not in it, and I seriously just gave up after a while. I also saw a comment of how this mission looks like a bunch of modders pissing about in a lobby, and that pretty much does sum up this mission to an absolute T. It is a cool idea, but I became so frustrated to care once I shot about 69 rounds into a single bunch of scraps. Then we have the wilderness mission, where you get tied up by a cult and then have the pleasure of searching the area for a researcher. And this mission has 2 big problems. First, the search area is just too big. Normally it's not an issue, but for whatever reason, finding the researcher is like trying to find a load of hay in a bunch of needles. Make sure you set about an hour aside, as it takes far too damn long. Secondly, as much as I love Red Dead Redemption 2, I mean, it's literally my favourite single player game of all time, we all know that it doesn't have the best stealth mechanics. It is a tad clunky and it's always felt a bit hit or miss. However, this mission decides to use stealth, and you're kind of forced to do so as you have limited health and no weapons. And very quickly, the cracks begin to show. Trying to wipe out enemies that are sitting down is less predictable than knowing if you're going to need a shit at someone's house or not. The game just decides what it wants to do. If the stealth fails, be ready for a bunch of arrows to be twatted into your neck, whilst feeling hopeless with next to no health and a shitty old knife. Alright, here we go. What do we reckon? Can I take him down without alerting anyone? Jesus, can I win the lottery more like? Oh shit. Again, this mission just feels tedious and annoying. And after a number of attempts solo, I was seriously contemplating the give up option in real life and not just in the damn game. However, despite the lackluster and frustrating missions, worst of all, after doing one, be prepared to wait for the cooldown to expire before you can start another. I mean, it is probably a good feature as it does allow my blood pressure to come down before attempting another one, but still, it's pointless and it completely kills the flow, and having to wait before going into another one is just really annoying. So, should you come back to play Red Dead Online just for this update? If you like what you see, maybe give it a shot, but don't expect no Undead Nightmare experience, and maybe warn your neighbour that glory holes might be produced in their walls. Personally, I don't really like the update, and I don't think it's really worth your time, but I will admit, it's nice to see Red Dead Online get anything at all, as I genuinely thought it was dead for good. But still, bringing people back to a long dormant online mode just to throw them into missions that are punishing isn't really the best call. Should Red Dead Online be set to rest? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and to find out whether the Game of the Year contender Mind's Eye has improved to new heights you never knew were possible, just click the video on screen.